No, I think it's important for us to understand the global picture of what it is that we are trying to do here. We have border spaces that make sure that whatever it is on the other side can only be transferred into the country by a human being. Yeah. Now, what have we done at our borders? We've taken those decisions. Right now, we have the cases in our country. We can't limit those ones, but we can, in a certain sense, because there are no borders within the country. Yeah. But now the distance between people is what's going to limit the viral activity or propagate it, and so the NIA, the National Identification Authority, came out yesterday with their response, or let me say their update to the president's, declaration. And it's an interesting one. I want to take a look at what it is that they said. Let's take a look at that, and then let's juxtapose it to the conversation about limiting the number. So I'm going to read what it is that they say there. To all field officials, conduct of mass registration exercise in the Eastern region. Pursuant to the directive of His Excellency the President, regarding the outbreak of COVID-19 in the country, the authority has determined that the mass registration in the Eastern region is to continue under the following strict guidelines and protocols. The mass registration, one, it says the mass registration currently underway in the Eastern region will continue under specific guidelines as follows. All supervising registration officers are to ensure using appropriate queue management techniques, including numbering or appointment systems, to ensure no long queues emerge at any registration centers. All SROs shall ensure that no more than 25 persons, including field officials, are present at registration center at any given time. SROs shall take the particulars of all applicants immediately they arrive at registration center. The applicants will be called to attend the registration center at specified date and time on appointment basis. After iris scanners are used by an applicant, field officials shall wipe them down before administering them to the next applicant. It continues to say, SRO shall ensure that applicants keep a social distance of 2 meters when at a registration center. And it goes on there, and to talk about the basis for which they came up with this. Now, I find it interesting because as much as it looks like they've implemented and put in place measures that will mitigate the spread of the virus in case somebody comes to the center, with who's infected. Maybe they're infected, but they're not showing it, because we have that period, that incubation period of a few days where the person is asymptomatic. Now, my thing is, if you've put these things in place, but you also can't determine, for example, that somebody is coming from a faraway place that took them maybe, let's say, 2 hours by road, 3 hours by road to get to the center. Do you turn them away? On what basis do you decide whether a person should go and come back later on another day at a given date and time? So I don't know. It's a little messy for me at this point, because it would have been easier to say, look, for now, this process that is going on, we are calling it off. Maybe it's too challenging to call off, or maybe they are close to the finishing line, so they feel as though it's detrimental to the process to call it off. But I don't know, Dziffa. I don't know what you make of it.
I don't think this is the time for NIA to be playing these games at all. The entire process is ridiculously manual. What I would have expected the NIA to tell us is, fine, the president has come up with this statement. What we are going to do is maybe we've procured some machines that will make the entire process digital. So you come, you have a machine, you input your data, the machine will take your picture, and then you go home. Some of their field officers have even come out to say that they don't even have the resources to be engaging people. A couple of months ago, I finally registered for my voter's ID. The entire process was extremely manual.
Yeah.
You meet the person.
And you sit right in front of the person.
You dip your finger into the thing to do your thumbprint. You're going to check my iris. That means the person has to be in my face. How exactly are we going to prevent this? It's disrespectful. It's needless. We can't afford to transfer the virus to each other. You can't expose your employees to coronavirus. And the part that really upset me was the second page. You guys have not even had access to hand sanitizers, the most basic of resources you don't have. Now you're exposing your workers to a potential virus that we are all trying to contain. If churches, mosques, businesses, even clubs have begun shutting down without the president requesting them to do so, why does NIA have to make this move? Why? There's absolutely no way a worker can say, okay, Dziffa, Ametam, then I'm so far away. And then when I get close, isn't it the same pen they're going to use to fill out my name that they'll give to me to fill out other information? The thing that I have to dip, the ink I have to dip my finger in, my thumb in, are they going to keep, changing it for every single individual? If you have not set in place all these processes, please, this is not the time. We've seen thousands of people die in developed countries, and even they took certain measures, and they can't even fight this virus. This isn't the time to be playing, well, follow these steps, wash your hands. Unfortunately, we don't have access to hand sanitizers. So why should I come out and work and register people and pass on the virus?
I think that it's important for NIA to review the decisions that they've taken, because these directives that they've given don't make any sense. Honestly, the president has given a very strict directive. Why would you act like a bunch of illiterate people? I don't understand that. This virus is not a joke. This virus, as you can see, people with much, much, much better health care systems nearly collapsed under their health care. Some are actually collapsing under under the weight of the impact of the spread of the virus. What are we doing? What are we saying? Like Dziffa said, you put your thumb on a thumb pad. How many people are going to stick their finger on that thumb pad? Are you expecting us to believe that somehow somebody walks into that space completely asymptomatic, mind you, and you don't have any way of checking that anybody that arrives there is infected, except there's a full-blown physical manifestation of the symptoms? You have no way. There are people who will walk in and walk out, and you will never know that they were infected. And whilst they're in that space, they have spread it, and several other people would have gotten it, and it's gone. Too late. Why don't we just do the right thing? Shut it down. Shut it down. It's as simple as that. The president has given a directive. NIA boss, I'm calling on you, calling on your executives, all of you, just stop the process. Don't endanger your staff. And don't endanger Ghanaians. It's really that simple.